And so when we discovered Teachable, it was so much fun because I was like, well, this is even for when I teach a class, I can then upload it into Teachable and they have a password protected area where they can go in and watch the recording of the class forever. And so it kind of opened up this door of community of being able to kind of retain those clients but also be able to connect with them if they were having trouble. And this was sort of like a way that they could kind of all funnel into one place.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jonah from Teachable. Thank you so much for joining us today, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. This month at Teachable is Creator Month, and we're taking the opportunity to talk to a variety of creators, not just about the business, but a little deeper. But today we are talking to you, Ashely Turner. Ashely, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Quite well. Thank you for tuning in. I know you're tuning in from the cold Nova Scotia weather. Well, just to get started, for anyone who doesn't know who you are or is just tuning in, can you give a little background?
So I have a partner in my subscription on Teachable, and we do it together. And we started on Instagram and wanted to bring longer content to recipes and tutorials because a lot of people are struggling with sourdough, and Instagram is such a short video platform that it was a way for us to really kind of take all of the knowledge that we have surrounding baking and put it in a platform that allowed people to kind of tune in and develop a community and ask questions and learn a lot more.
As I understand it, sourdough is the courses you sell, but you also have a farm. A lot of your content is about homesteading and all of that. Was was that a life you were living and then decided to make it public and go on social media, or was it a combination?
Yeah, so it sort of happened at the same time. We moved here and I started the Instagram pretty much right away. And I was like home with our kids, and my husband worked full time, and we started just kind of doing some homesteading, like gardening, and I had some chickens and some sheep, and just like started really small like that. And it just slowly grew, and I documented the whole thing on my Instagram. And then I was teaching sourdough classes in my kitchen at the time, and then all the lockdowns happened. Obviously, I wasn't able to do that anymore. So I took my classes online to a wider audience. And so I started teaching Zoom classes online. And what I found was there was such a market for that and it was so much fun, but then that was it and it was done. And
Hmm.
so then I never talked to the people again and I never really heard from them again. And I didn't really know if they were enjoying the content. And so when we discovered Teachable, it was so much fun because I was like, well, this is even for when I teach a class, I can then upload it into Teachable and they have a password protected area where they can go in and watch the recording of the class forever. And so it kind of opened up this door of community of being able to kind of retain those clients but also be able to connect with them if they were having trouble. And this was sort of like a way that they could kind of all funnel into one place.
What was that like when it wasn't in your kitchen anymore? And now you were having an impact with people from all over the world or virtual and all of
Yeah,
those elements.
that was a huge learning curve for me. If I go
Sure.
back and look at my like very first classes I ever taught online, to like 12 people or something, you're just kind of talking into the abyss. And eventually I got to a point where I had a friend sit and I opened up the chat option on Zoom and people could write. And so they could ask questions as I was teaching. And that really helped me to know that
Mm.
people were listening to what I was saying. And so then it funneled the direction of how I would speak on there. So I actually find it really easy now to teach to a live Zoom class or whether it YouTube or whatever it is versus in the subscription where I'm literally just talking to a camera.
Do you have specific moments or ways in which your students have taught you things, or having that kind of environment has helped you learn more? or learn new things?
Yeah, so we also have a Facebook group for the subscription. So anyone who's part of the subscription gets to be on this Facebook group. So that's been so fun for me because I get to see who's making the recipes because otherwise I have no idea. And so it's so fun to see people say like, "Oh, like made the multigrain sourdough, or I made the croissants or whatever, and here's how mine turned out, or I'm having a lot of trouble with this particular recipe and my dough is really wet. What should I do?" Like it's a really great way to engage specifically with the people who are in the subscription, and they all write in there and they're really vocal. And so oftentimes questions will come up over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, I should really hop on and like explain that a little bit better because obviously that's a place where people are really struggling. And so that's been really helpful for me because I might be teaching croissants and I might whiz through something that feels really easy for me to do, but maybe for people who've never done it, they're really confused by that. And so that's been a really great way for people to help me help them in
Yeah.
in video format, or if they're like, hey, we would really like an extra tutorial on this or a recipe about this, and then I can pop that in there. It's super easy for us to do that.
I love hearing about that moment with creators because it seems like when you're an early creator, it can be really difficult to know where to start or what to make. But there's always a tipping point where at a certain point, your audience just tells you what they want.
Exactly.
And you're in playful service with your audience to keep the curiosity going. That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we will often go on and say, what do you guys want to see over the next 6 months? And so we just did like a gourmet sourdough cookie month. And there's like, I don't know, I think there's like 20 different cookies, like sourdough cookies in this month. And people were loving it because it's just like, and Lizzie, my partner, is like a cookie fanatic. So she was just like, that was her jam. She just took that and flew with it because she was so excited. It is really nice to be able to, because over time we wonder what we will keep doing for content. And it's nice, like we haven't run out of ideas yet.
Yeah.
They seem to keep coming because people keep asking for it.
It's funny to me because I think it's a trope that like the farmsteading and the influencer lifestyle would be so different from each other.
Yeah.
But what is a day in your life mixing those two? And where do you when you go to milk the cow, do you think I need to set up the tripod every day? Or
So well, right now we're not milking, but yeah, like
sure.
when I milk in the field, I would like prop it on a bucket or something. Like, but for us a day, like, so we homeschool our kids. So they are homeschooled. My husband works on the farm full time. We're building a house and a barn right now. So he's also generaling that. And so it just depends on the day of the week. I have 2 days a week where I am either filming or I'm editing for our subscription content and now YouTube as well. And then the other days we're homeschooling or my daughter rides horses. So often we're like driving to whatever she's doing for her horses and pretty busy.
Well, we got to slowly wrap up here, but I wanted to ask you just a couple more questions before we have to sign off. Do you have any advice for someone starting out on just like how to keep it fun?
For me, it's like, give people something that they need or that they don't even know that they need. And just give it to them and
Mm,
see where you land. And then eventually, and then tell your story. And then eventually for me, it was like, I was years in to telling my story and giving things away for free that I was like, hey, I think I'm going to start teaching some classes to make some money. And people were so excited to support that.
mm,
They were with me for years at that point. They knew my family, they knew what we were doing. They really wanted to help, they wanted to support it, they wanted to be part of the beginning of something. And that's a long road. That's like definitely not a you start your business and in 2 months you're making money. But for me, that's the only way that it worked for me is that you build relationships first, you give people something they're not sure that they need, and then they have a relationship and they trust you. They know you can teach. They know how you teach. They've been listening to you for so long. They want to learn more from you. And then for me, that just kind of slowly progressed into filling sourdough classes online and now the subscription.
Love it. Thank you, Ashley, so much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Look out for the other live events coming up. Go check out Ashley. The link to their farm website, too, is in the description. And hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll be back soon. Ashley, if I don't see you before, good luck in the winter, and I'll talk
Thanks.
to you soon.